Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon was sentenced today to 4 months in jail in order to pay a $6,500 fine for refusing to cooperate with the congressional investigation into the January 6th riots. Bannon says he will appeal.
CBS News legal contributor Keir Dougall joins us now for more on the Bannon sentencing. Keir, you're a former federal prosecutor. Prosecutors in this case wanted 6 months and $200,000. They got 4 months and $6,500. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think the big takeaway is you can't blow off a subpoena even if you hire a high-caliber lawyer who says it's okay. You can't just fail to show up. You can't just default. You've got to respond. On the actual terms of the sentencing, I think that I'm a little surprised. Typically, what a judge will do in terms of the time, which is I think the big issue here, is they'll often sentence at the minimum range, which would have been 30 days, 1 month. The fact that this judge sentenced Mr. Bannon to 4 months in the middle of the range and toward the higher end of this range tells me that the judge was not moved by Mr. Bannon's presentation.
So, Keir, you touched on this, but what about this notion of precedent? Steve Bannon is not the only person facing contempt of Congress charges for defying a subpoena from the January 6th House Select Committee. Could Bannon's sentencing then set a precedent for other cases like Peter Navarro, whose case goes to trial in November?
Yeah, I mean, well, Mr. Navarro is sort of already, over the dam, if you will. The water's already gone over the dam for him. But other witnesses in the future who are going to see that, if you've just failed to show up at all, then you're looking at real time. I think that will create an incentive for future witnesses to be more compliant. And so I think that's the whole point of this. I do not expect Mr. Bannon to be successful in his appeal. So I think this is going to move the needle.
Turning to another case, Politico has obtained a record of text messages sent to and from former Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler following her election loss in Georgia in 2020. She lost to Raphael Warnock. What do we know about these messages? They're not that old. They've been public for about 17, 20 hours, something like that. Could they play into the current investigations in Georgia over attempts to overturn the election there?
Well, based on the reporting, first of all, let's set the stage. Not all of these communications have been authenticated, so we don't know if some of them are fake. Apparently, some of them have been. But let's assume that they are real. The reporting is that there were communications between then Senator Loeffler and other senators about election issues, the certification issues, and other issues that would be relevant to the January 6th committee. And perhaps prosecutors. So, at a minimum, those texts could be basically leads to other evidence. So they could very well be relevant. But sort of the other part of the question is, where did they come from? In the absence of Kelly Loeffler, somebody who had access to her phone with her consent, getting a hold of those things and sending them out. You're talking about somebody who got access to those things either illegally or, if they were subpoenaed, then disclosed them in violation of the investigative procedures. So whoever that person is who handed off those text messages, my advice to them would be to get a criminal defense lawyer as soon as possible.
Yeah, we should point out this is very early going here on these text messages. It's a 59-page log with 405 texts, according to Politico. Several media organizations received it. It's an anonymous sender, and not all the messages, as you rightly point out, have been authenticated. So no one has published the full log, or at least Politico has not.
Right. A lot of open questions here still. Keir Dougall, Keir, as always, we thank you for your insight and expertise.